I'm working on the connectors for the Opal bag now. As you can see here, I've cut out a piece of light blue vinyl. This is the vinyl side and the underside, the wrong side. I've cut out a piece 8 inches by 2 inches. Once I've top stitched it, I'll be able to cut it into the 4 pieces for the connectors. So what I do is I fold it in half first, give it a press so that you get that middle line. Then I press to that fold, as you can see there. Grab a clip and hold it in place. Do that all the way down along the vinyl. I find that these stationery clips, they don't leave marks. I've never used the Wonder clips that everyone talks about. Once that's done, I top stitch down the right side of the vinyl. Then I go back and I do the other side. Okay, so now we need to cut the connectors at the 2-inch mark. Once that's done, grab your rectangle ring. You can trim those little bits off too. Snippers. Throw them on the floor. Then put your connectors onto the rectangle rings, and then take that over to your sewing machine and stitch close to the edge, because once we add them to the middle main panel, there'll be a 1/4 inch seam, so you don't want to do a 1/4 inch on the vinyl because we don't want to stitch over that twice. Okay, once you have all your rectangle ring and connectors done, as you can see, I've top stitched close to the edge, about 1/8 of an inch. I don't tend to, on such short connectors, stitch close to the rectangle ring. I think it looks a little unattractive sometimes, and if it's not necessary, but that's my opinion. Some people like to stitch that way. I like the way it sort of moves around freely. Okay, so then we grab the main panel, the middle main panel. That's what the pattern suggests you do that first, but you can do it either way. I've already added the bottom panel and I've top stitched up here. As you can see, we top stitch over the vinyl seam. That keeps that in place. Then we line it up. I use my my mat a lot for measurements. I tend to try and find where it sits evenly, find the middle if I haven't got the crease already there. So what are we? 11. So we want to go in 5 1/2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1/2. That's my middle there. Like I said, I'm a bit funny in measuring. That's just how I do it. A lot of math I do in my head instead. So I tend to just go, there you go, that's my middle. Instead of creasing, because then I like to work with numbers more than folding, because sometimes you may not get the exact center when you fold, after you've got some thicknesses. Okay, so we're supposed to be, this is the small, so according to the pattern, I'm pretty sure it's 4 inches apart. So put them there. I should double check, shouldn't I? Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 4 inches. So there's our mark there. We grab one of the connectors, set that there, and then we find the other one. There's a bit of an easier way than this doing it, but then I measure up between them again. I do a lot of measuring all the time. I'm always double checking because it actually drives me pretty crazy if things are out even a mil. I don't know, that's my math brain. Anyway, so once they're on there, you just grab some clips. Don't worry, we'll be readjusting the measurements again as we go along. Okay. Pop that on there. We're not going to stitch these on because you don't want to keep stitching on that vinyl a lot, and we're going to be stitching over them once we put the top one on, the top panel. Okay, so measure again, make sure you've got your 4 inches, because these have to be lined up as close as possible so that the handles match on either side of the bag. You don't want the handles to be out by anything. It's very noticeable. Well, in my opinion it is, yeah. I have a lot of opinions. Anyway, so once that's done, then you grab this part, the top part. We line that up. As you can see, you're going to have a little bit of an overhang. It's about 1/4 of an inch on either end. Try and line that up specific. As you can see, I have my middle mark there and it's lined up with the line. It's all perfect. Now, sometimes the connector may move as you go to remove the clip and then place this over top. So what I tend to do, because I have a very, very tall table and I can, I'm at standing height at the moment, so everything's really accessible. I tend to move it over to the edge like this, line that up again, keep it in place. First you can probably take it, yeah, like that. Put the clip over like that, because if you've got that overhang you can actually get the clip in better than trying to lift it up off the table. Readjust again once if you feel that it's moved anything. Move that one up again. I'll go back, I put it back on my mat. They're good. We've got that little overhang there. That's a little bit longer on that side, so I can move that over. See, these things bother me. So there we go. Because once that's sewn, that 1/4 inch, you'll find that that bit on the side will match up, because some people may think, oh, that piece is longer than that piece, but it doesn't matter. It's meant to be that way. Okay, so once you feel that you've got them in the right place, take them over to your machine and do a 1/4 inch seam along. If you have trouble getting over the connectors, I tend to lift my foot and sort of push it under just a little to help. There are some other things that you can use, like a jumper I've heard of, but yeah, no worries. We'll come back to after I've sewn this. Okay, so I've just gone over to my machine and I've stitched the top panel to the middle and caught in the connectors, and once I've pressed it up, I've then top stitched across the middle fabric. It may be a little tough to get across again, but just do the same as what you did with the connectors before and maybe lift your foot a little just to help push it along.